Hi, and welcome to my Activate session. So, I'm sure you'll be hearing lots of AI chat today, and I wanted to share our experience of how AI has saved us 19,000 hours as a business of about 45 people with a target to double that this year. So, very quick intro to me. I am Laura Davidson, CEO at Tag Digital. We are a paid media agency that supports event organisers reach their goals. So, just to set the scene, I want to show you these two images that are taken 13 years apart. So, on the left hand side, this is New York in about 1900, and on the right hand side, this is 13 years later. So, what we're seeing is the absolute transformation going from horse drawn carriages to motor cars within 13 years. And it changed absolutely everything, the way that the city was run, the way that we could get things to each other, and lots of businesses were evaporated and lots of businesses were created as a result of this. So change is inevitable, it's happening, and it's how do we respond to that. So, and also just to think a bit more philosophically, all decisions ultimately come from a place of fear or a place of love. So we can panic that AI is going to take our jobs, and absolutely job displacement is going to be part of what happens with AI, but there will be lots of new jobs that are created and it will embrace and we can embrace a lot of the opportunities. So thinking what the World Economic Forum have come out with, that AI will increase job satisfaction and create value for customers. So that's what we're going to lean into today is how can we use AI to support us, to make our lives easier and to create new skill sets that we're going to learn. So also I like to think about going back to maybe the first time we saw a search engine working are kind of like, what is this witchcraft? And we're all going to get so stupid. And what's going to happen to libraries? And we're never going to be able to research. Naturally, our skill sets have changed and we still have lots to do. And we've used these technologies to let us work faster, work more efficiently, similar to maybe scientific calculators going back 30 or so years ago. There's panic, there's banning them, and then there's a kind of adaptation. So that's where we're at in this life cycle at the moment. So I wanted to start with just a couple of more kind of tactical things that you can use. So as I mentioned, we are a paid media agency and all the time we're working with all of the big tech platforms. We're seeing what's working. We're running digital marketing. And we've been testing generative AI for lots of our clients over the last 6 months. And I wanted to share a couple of comparisons. So on the left hand side, you can see the kind of original banners that we were using in creative. And on the right hand side, these are images that have been generated by AI, and then we've tested them in the client's banners. So we're still kind of keeping within the brand guidelines. Everything looks like the brand, feels like the brand, but we're testing something a little bit different. And what we've seen so far with those is a real increase in the click through rates that we're seeing. So, click through rate is ultimately a function of creative and is it resonating with the audience? And what we're seeing is that's about doubled with the generative AI creative. That in turn will then be shown more times to that audience. And then, so naturally, we see a big uplift in conversion, about 200% in both instances. So, what I would say just now with generative AI creative is users are very curious. They want to see something different. In a world of B2B marketing, you've got to be memorable and you've got to stand out. So test it, see what happens. You don't need to get rid of all of your standard creative, but it's definitely something that I'd be looking at for 2024. Similarly, we can see now with Google Performance Max, which is a new ad format that came out maybe 18 months ago, and it's a combination of search, social, search, display, and video advertising all under one roof. And we find the right inventory for the right user at the right time. And what they've done is they've also added in a generative AI image creator. So rather than trying to find all of your images and your assets, you can get campaigns live very, very quickly and test things and see what's working and what's not. And I think that really helps marketers because we're very time poor. Maybe our design teams are really busy. And this just gives us something that's a short, sharp test. We see how it works and we can always test other images against it. So Performance Max, generative AI is coming and very, very soon, probably within the next quarter, we can test our own images. So we do all of that digital marketing for our clients, and feel free to take any of those examples. There are thousands of different innovations coming out on all of the platforms every single quarter. But what I wanted just to spend 5 minutes on is how we have utilised automation to save our small team 19,000 hours. And we've done a lot of different things that have enabled us to do that. And I wanted to start with our operations team. So we have a big technical team and they rely on information being passed back and forth. And really, we looked at what are the things that we're repeating all of the time? How can we make things faster? How can we make things more scalable as the business grows? So any of these things can probably be adapted to different workflows, and wanted to share some of the things that have worked really well for us. So briefing is a process that lots of us will go through. So questions back and forth, calls, all of these meetings. And actually, we end up with a very, very similar set of information. So we took all of that information, created a form. What are all the things that we need to know from a client to be able to get started? That form is then sent to us. It's sent to the client. It's also sent straight into our workflow. So it generates a media plan and generates an invoice. So we have everything. It's all automated. We're not going hunting for things when we go to set a campaign live. And it really compresses that timeline of briefing. The media plan, we get, say, 80% of the information will come from the brief straight into the media plan. So we know what audiences, what geolocations, and then it's up to us to use all of our contextual information and our benchmarking tool to then build what's a good cost per acquisition, how should we spend this budget on this channel. We've then also used this to support with ordering. So we're a service-based business, but ultimately what we sell is a product. So we also created our own e-commerce shop, which is something that is very low touch, requires almost no interaction, but means that if you're coming to an agency with a relatively small budget, then you can buy impressions, clicks, leads, whatever it is that you need on our shop. There's no invoicing, it's all done by credit card, and your campaigns go live in less than a week. So we wanted to find ways that we can still get people live really quickly. And if you don't have the budget to do full agency service, there's an option there. So that saved us a huge amount of time on campaigns that maybe didn't have budget with enough run rate. Then across all of the ad tech, I mentioned a couple of those points there. There's machine learning that captures 5,000 different data points on each of us, and that feeds into responsive formats, predictive audiences, and we're using all of that, which used to be manual tasks that we would do, manual bidding, keywords, negative keywords. We can automate a huge amount of that as well. Then moving into data insights. So we take all of the insights in the platform, we take all of the data, we export it, and then we use large language models like Gemini or ChatGPT to tell us the insights, the performance, what's working, what's not, and that can analyze so much more data in a much faster time than we could, and allows us to build industry level benchmarking so we know what does good look like if you are running a security event or a fashion event anywhere over the world. We've taken that a step further to have our marketing automation, which is all completely automated with our email workflows. Our HubSpot comes straight into Slack. Our deal pipeline is all automated, and then NPS scoring, which ultimately means that we can spend more time delivering an 11-star customer experience to our clients. So the question I would leave you with today is, what are you repeating day in, day out, and how can you automate it? AI is the future. Get started using automation, have a policy, treat customers' data as your own, and be transparent. Thanks.